Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome, my friends, to episode number 11 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. If you're feeling like the time has come to do something about systemic racism and you're not sure what, you're in the right place. Today we'll dive into what we can do as allies, as anti-racists, and as fellow human beings to create a world where Black lives truly matter. These past 2 weeks have been a whirlwind of momentum, and we can really feel this air of change upon us now. And we can see that we're getting fed up with the systemic racism, with the oppression, and all of the senseless deaths. And people everywhere, including yourself and myself, are being challenged to decide what they stand for and speak up on topics of race and privilege. And it's been a lesson for all of us. The biggest lesson for all of us has really been how we handle discomfort. And you might be thinking, but I'm not racist, or I'm not a bad person, or what does this have to do with me? And for many of us, thoughts of being racist are truly uncomfortable. Most of us like to think of ourselves as nice and kind human beings. So then you start thinking that the protest, the anger, the quote-unquote loudness of it all is just a little bit too much. But this is when we have to wake up, and what we're waking up to is this idea that people are in and have been in deep pain for a long time, and that there are so many people suffering silently and have been their entire lives. That the kindness that you receive on a daily basis may not be that which others receive, and that you do act differently based on someone's race, and that you make generalizations about people based on one or two people you know. And we've all been there, we've all done it, and it makes us uncomfortable. So uncomfortable that we don't want to admit to it. We don't want to talk about a topic that seems so sad or depressing, or we don't think that what we do or don't do actually matters. And it's not that bad, right? Because it doesn't affect my family. And we're not that bad, so why bother? So this cycle of acting, thinking, and inaction is all too common. You're not special, and we're not special in that regard. And this is why systemic racism exists. Until it's talked about by people who have not talked about it, namely non-Blacks, it won't change, because the people who have benefited from racism are the people who need to say, wait a minute, I think we can do better. I wouldn't want to be treated worse because I happen to be born with darker skin. And the question is, would you? And the ultimate test is this: if I gave you an opportunity to be born as a white person or a Black person in this world, which one would you choose? If you chose white, think about all the reasons why. And these reasons will give you a start to what is missing for so many others in this world. And if you're listening to this podcast, you likely feel that you do want to be different. You want to stop thinking like the herd, and you want to break free. So guess what your North Star is going to be? It's whatever that makes you feel uncomfortable. So discomfort is the starting point, and it's not bad. It shows a contrast to what it is that you want to see in your life. So embrace discomfort, welcome discomfort, and know with a sense of deep trust that when you see discomfort through the eyes of a super conscious and spiritual view, you can see that you're bridging what is with what is yet to be. And when you can identify what is not ideal in the world, yet you have hope for the future, you are able to be fulfilled and happy on the path to everything you want to achieve and create in your life. So this inner world of values, your meaning and purpose, that's what shows you the path to take. And if you don't accept discomfort and you instead shy away from experiencing what makes you feel different and a bit strange, then you'll stop yourself from moving past it, and you will constantly come up to the discomfort as a wall and then back down. But what if you saw this discomfort and realized that everything you want is on the other side of this wall? You just have to climb over it. But in order to climb over it, you need the inner strength to see that even though right here, right now, everything looks so tough and overwhelming, that you can handle it. And you will handle it. One example of this is a difficult conversation, and I know we all have opportunities to have these in our lives. And perhaps you start hearing accounts, for example, from the Black community on what their life has been like and how angry they are over racism. And you're trying to understand, yet you're still receiving maybe some backlash for what you're doing or not doing. So this is a difficult conversation. But if we decide that it's too uncomfortable for us to have, we'll shut it down. This is when we have to overcome our natural desire to avoid discomfort because of fear. Fear that it's not safe to have a conversation and what it might do to you. But fear has to be managed, and it cannot run your life. So you can see the fear and realize that this ability to understand and or receive this difficult conversation is ultimately allowing you to learn and expand. And this is a choice. This is a choice. And if you want to create a positive end result to what can seem like a difficult situation, you have to choose to use it for good. So allow yourself to be uncomfortable and allow yourself to learn through the process. And I challenge you all to see what difficult conversations that you want to have and you know you want to have because they're on your heart. Maybe you want to reach out to someone. Maybe you want to talk to someone about something. Maybe you want to do something, but you're not doing it because you're scared. In these moments, realize that this is the turning point. This is where your freedom lies. As long as you're shackled to the chains of fear and the fear of discomfort, you will always be held back by this wall. But if you see it as what it is, which is just a thing that you may be worried about, but deep in your heart you know probably needs to happen, then you go on and you do it, and you go on and you do it, and you do it more, and you do it more, and the more you do it, the more you learn to trust yourself, the more you see that these conversations are worthwhile, and the more you feel worthy of having these deep conversations and speaking the truth that's inside. So this past week, I did a 3-day live stream, and I talked about how we can create an outer world that reflects our inner world. And identity and who we are is a large component of what makes or breaks our ability to create a new future. If we want to do something we don't normally do, we have to create a new identity. We have to decide. We have to decide that we're going to be someone who has the capacity to handle the desire to create a more just future. And what does this specifically look like for you? Does it look like being an activist? Does it look like going deep within to see what you care about and why? Does it look like acting in alignment with your values? Does it look like speaking up even when it's uncomfortable? Does it look like asking more questions to understand more? Be specific. But I want you to see yourself standing with strength for what you believe in. And the good thing is that whatever you want to create, you can. And I'm not an expert on racism, but there are so many people who have dedicated their lives to this topic. If it pains you to think that the senseless deaths that occurred to so many of our fellow human beings could occur to those that you love the most, your family or your close friends, then it's likely that you want to do something about it. And one of the first things you can do is to educate yourself on the history of oppression or of racial injustice. And when you do that, you start to ground yourself in the why. And again, is this going to make you feel good right then and there? Maybe not. But is it likely going to do you good? And in your soul and in your spirit, you sense this awakening and this deep sense of purpose, this deep sense of belief, this deep sense of confidence in your actions. So is it likely going to do you good? Yes. And so the whole point is to focus on it enough. Focus on the past just enough for you to understand it so that you can align it within yourself and act from a place of integrity and see what it is that you want to do in this world. And one of the hardest things ever is to witness and read about these harder topics, these events, the history, and not be emotionally charged. But emotion is only negative if it keeps you from moving forward. Emotion is charged energy. And if you can wield that energy and leverage that energy, you can then move forward with a sense of purpose, direction, and momentum. You suddenly have new ideas for what you want to create, how you want to act. You suddenly have intuitive hits for what feels aligned. So you might be now thinking, well, what do I create? What do I do? So this creation part of you is one that is taking action from a place of alignment. So do what feels good to you and what you'll enjoy doing. And I get it. You're like, but May, these topics are uncomfortable. None of them I enjoy. I don't want to talk to people about it. I don't want to go out and talk to more people about it. I'm not sure what to do about it. But when I say do what feels good, it's some of these things like maybe you just show up because your friends and family are there. Maybe you connect with a person because you care about relationships. Maybe you read because you understand through reading. But just don't create and take action because you want to get approval from others. Take action and create this new world because you can see how a solution can actually start to take hold. We each have so many gifts, and from a spiritual point of view, your ability to act on your gifts is your greatest source of fulfillment. So I teach, I coach, I relate to people, I train. So for me, taking action looks like all of those things and sharing resources. So I was talking to my kids and talking to others about this topic. It's talking about it at work. It's talking about it in all my live streams. And one of the biggest differentiations for how you create is to create from a place of hope. So I wasn't talking about fixing what is broken, but because I was talking about leading with intuition, I was talking about leading from the future. This is how we don't let the shame or the overwhelm or the frustration stop us from moving forward. So lead from the future, not the past. Lead from a sense of positive hope instead of comparing yourself to others and what others are doing or saying. Just ask yourself what you want in terms of racial equity and how you want to feel as you create from a place of what matters to you. And realize that this is a marathon. A marathon. So this idea that this is all going to end in a week isn't real. And I think that whatever practices we take on, we have to desire it, feel convicted enough in those beliefs that we can sustain it. And we have to build it into the way we act so deeply and the way we make decisions that you're constantly asking yourself the question of, why am I doing this? How am I helping in this situation? How do I create a new system for where change takes place? How do I educate myself more? What does it look like? So I want to bring up two topics: worthiness and abundance. So what does worthiness have to do with racial injustice? So I had this thought the other day that so many of our disagreements or places where we act out of alignment with our values come when we believe that the world is scarce or that we have to prove we are worthy. So we fight over resources, we fight over power, we fight over control. We look to the external world to define who we are and how worthy we are. And if your sense of power came from money, and in order to have money, you felt you needed to diminish others, and that the pie was not ever expanding but ever shrinking, then you would do so. On the other hand, if your sense of worthiness and abundance came from you, not others, you wouldn't try so hard to force the outer world or other people to submit to your control. And anytime you feel a forcing or a resistance, this is your clue that you're out of alignment. When I say resistance, I mean a resistance from within, where you feel like you're really pushing. So instead, from a place of worthiness, state what it is you want and why, without diminishing others, because you know that what is for you will not pass you. So don't be so hard on yourself when you realize that this controlling attitude is what's happening inside. Focus instead on bringing all your energy back to you and turning on the belief that you are powerful. And when you can acknowledge where you are and then improve upon it, this is such a more sustainable way to be. And if you can do this every moment and every single day, then this is starting the process of change. Because when you see yourself as a being with infinite possibilities and inherently worthy, then it's possible to believe that others are too. So if you like this topic, you will love my 4-month intuitive leadership coaching program. 50% of the sales are being donated to the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund. We meet twice a month for 4 months, and it includes a one-on-one Akashic Records reading, a private community, and a 1-day virtual retreat. And this is where you can bring the thing that you want to focus on or the questions that you have, and we work through it together to align it from the inside out and bring it to life. This is what I mean by teaching and leading with intuition. We start in mid-July, and if you book in June, you'll get a one-on-one bonus coaching session. So check out details at www.mayamson.com/intuitive leadership, or go to www.mayamson.com/contact to schedule a call where I can answer any questions that you might have. So thank you again for joining me this week. I hope that this topic starts your wheels turning as they have started mine, and that you leave with a sense of hope, that when you take even the smallest actions, they matter. But don't wait to act because you're looking to act from a place of perfection or an expectation that it has to be the biggest thing ever. Your actions all matter. And I want you to know that these thoughts that you have about what's going on and how terrible this world can be are not necessarily bad, but they give you a starting point, and they give you a starting point for you to understand what it is you do want to see. And so understand that your discomfort is real, but it's also a good thing. And for all of us, we're waking up. I love you, my friends. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. It'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.